Uh, man, so just came to y'all today, man. First of all, I was doing one of my first lives, man. I appreciate everybody tapping in. So I'm coming to y'all today because I was having an interesting conversation. I was talking to this person, and we were talking about life. You know what I'm saying? And they're like 40, and they were saying basically, I said, "Well, what's your plans? You know, what do you plan on doing next?" And they were like, well, at 53, 54, I'm going to sell everything and I'm going to move into a nursing home at 55 and just live my life in a nursing home. They've got bingo, they've got games I could play, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, yo, I said, well, what have you done with your life lately? That's like amazing. It's got you to where like you're at the finale point because usually people go into nursing homes like post retirement, 60, 70, things like that. So they were like, well, nothing. I tried to get married. I just bought a house this year. And I said, okay, so what, you gonna live in your house for a few years and then sell it and then just move in a nursing home? That's it. And they were like, yeah, because it'll be fun, it'll be exciting. So, I'm like, but what have you done amazing though? Like what's like, got you at your end game? And they were like, well, I've traveled. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. You travel. They named a couple places. I'm like, okay, that's nothing really astounding. You know what I'm saying? So then they asked me, they said, well, G, kind of what have you done that was amazing? You know what I'm saying? And then I just started thinking about it, and I'm just like, yo, I've been to the BT Awards. I've been to the Grammys. I've hung out with the who's who of our generation. Met Nicki Minaj. Kicked it with Ray Shremmerd. I'm like, been to surf when I was young, surfing. Um, squash jellyfish on the beach. You know what I'm saying? I grabbed a back of dolphins and rode them through the Pacific Ocean. You know what I'm saying? I had two record deals, and I'm just like, I got like famous friends from coast to coast, and I'm like, I've touched, six of the other continents, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, well, what did you do when you travel? I asked them, and they're like, we just walked around. We went to some museums, and I'm like, went to some museums, walked around. Like, did you cliff jump? You know what I'm saying? They like, no. They're like, what have you done? I'm like, I bungee jumped. You know what I'm saying? I parasailed. It's just a lot of different things. So, you know, I just came to say, never be average. Like you're not put here on this planet to just exist, just feed a machine, whatever that machine may be, whether it be uh, a religious machine or a political machine or, just take care of your family and that's it. Like you're not here for that. You know what I'm saying? You're here to basically be the best version of you that you can be, and somewhere along the lines, when you meet people that say, well, all I want to do is this, all I want to do is just, maintain this base level of existence, usually between the ages of like 3 and 12, they were presented with some type of situation, like whether it be, something negative, like they tried something and it didn't work, or someone told them that they couldn't be successful in a certain way. What up, Scotty G? What up, Scotty G? You know, um, they said, so therefore they developed in their subconscious programming this level of I cannot achieve, which is limiting behavior. So what you want to do is, man, there's several ways to break that. You can there's mirror meditation, there's meditation prior to bed, to program the subconscious. There's feeling meditation, but never subscribe to programs of limitation. You're not here for that. You're here to be, like I said, the greatest version of you humanly possible. Whether it be, growing yourself, growing your body, extreme athleticism, extreme intellect. You want to make change while you're on this journey. Nothing average should be accepted. It should be appreciated. Every level that you achieve of any form of success should be appreciated, but it never should be accepted as the norm, because like I said, all you're doing is feeding billionaires. I've had conversations with Rob Johnson, the mentor of Pete Carroll from the Seattle Seahawks, and he explained to me like about a lot of things about life and about thinking and how your thinking changes your reality. And, most come from humble beginnings, so you just want to never put limits on yourself. And if you do, because sometimes like limiting thoughts seep into the subconscious, you have to negate it immediately with a positive reinforcement thought. You need that to subside that, to delete that programming. Otherwise, you're constantly going to run a negative programming. And the thing is, the biggest change is the consistency. People say, "Oh, well, I tried meditation, it really didn't work," or, "I tried this or that, and I did." But how long did you try? Did you give it 30 days? Did you give it any form of consistency that would start to elevate it? Because even when you work out, the simplest thing, if you want to lose weight, it takes 6 months for the body to start understanding that it is under the guise of losing weight. So, like when you work out, like you don't see results for 6 months. So, anything that you do in order to achieve a higher level, it definitely takes a form of consistency. So, I just came here today to bring you that because it was the most interesting conversation I had. Like, I've never seen a person, and they're financially able, they're extremely financially able, but it's just like they have just blocks everywhere. Um, Relationships don't work. This doesn't work. That isn't accessible. This isn't accessible. And I'm just looking and I'm like, but you have everything to achieve success. You could even purchase what you wanted if that's the route you choose to go. So never be average. Never accept average thought. If you're around people that are telling you it's okay to just have this and just have that, you want to get away from those people immediately. Avoid the sick and infested as if they were a disease. And that means mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. You never want to surround yourself with people that have limitations. They will definitely affect you as well. So it's your boy Giaconna, man, from Giaconna TV. What's up, Shadow Reach, or whatever that is? You know what I'm saying? I see you, baby. I appreciate you. How you doing? But like I said again, never accept limitations. You are not put on this planet to just exist. You are put on this planet to achieve and contribute moving forward. You know, salute, man. Giaconna from Giaconna TV. Y'all know what it is, man. I tap in with y'all soon, man.